Hello, hello, everybody. Lessons Under Quarantine, Friday edition. Can you guys hear me? And can you see the screen that says my favorite punctuation mark, the EmDash? Can someone chat me that? Yes, this is so good. It's working really smoothly these days. Thank you, Julia. Awesome. That's all I need. That's all I need to get started. Now it's 5:27 and we've got 3 minutes to screw around. So my husband's out there watching a read through of an episode of Big Mouth. I think I brought up Big Mouth. I brought it up directly on Tuesday or Wednesday. I can't remember which one, and just said how funny it was. And then I did an imitation of one of the characters, like an okay imitation, not a great one, the other day when I was just kind of excited to do that. And I'm just super into the show right now. Anyway, they're doing a live read of one of the episodes, and it's hilarious. So yet one more endorsement from me of this show, Big Mouth. It's on Netflix. It's fantastic. It's fairly inappropriate, but isn't all culture inappropriate at this point, right? I mean, like, what do we expect from American culture these days? It's changed since I was a kid, I mean, I think, I'm trying to think of, swear words are now omnipresent. Even on network TV, there are words that you absolutely can say on network TV that you could not say when I was a kid. The B word, the A word, what other words? I don't know. I should go off the wall with them. You know what I mean? Like use letters that like the L word. I guess that's like lesbian. I don't know. I made it up. The M word. There is no M word, right? Anyway, all of those words, M word included, you're now allowed to say, and you weren't allowed to say when I was a kid. And the content of television has gotten much, what's the word for it? I don't know. It's not inappropriate, I guess. If we all agree it's okay, then it's not inappropriate. It's just more like ribald than it was before. I can't talk about the EmDash yet. I can talk about the EmDash as soon as this thing ticks over to 5:30. Then I'm all about the EmDash. What else is going on? What else is interesting? This has been a good week. It's been productive. It's been fun to do these lessons. I'm not going to do it next week only because I've got to get some other stuff done. And this has just been it. Basically, I'm spending, say, an hour and a half or 2 hours of my day getting ready for the presentation each day. And that's fine. And it's fun to like get up to speed on something or hopefully I'm already up to speed, but become more credible about it. I don't mind doing that, but I gotta get some other stuff done too. So it's been fun to do this, and I think I will do it again. If you guys, maybe I'll do it less frequently. Maybe that's what I should do. Rather than Monday through Friday, I'll do it like once a week. If you guys have ideas for lessons that I should do, either email them to me, which is ted@tutorted.com. Make sure you spell that tutor with a T. Or you could text them to me. Got a chat window here. Let's see. Oh, thanks, Noah. That's sweet of you to say. I appreciate you saying that, man. Yeah, I know it's really fun, and like I guess I'm like part of me is like not super ready to put it to bed, but like ready to put it to bed in that like I need Saturday and Sunday, that's for sure. But like there's this list. I'll show you the list real quick, and then I'll actually get started. This is my to-do list. It has extended onto a second index card, which is not supposed to do. It's supposed to be on one index card. And a lot of these things say Wednesday, Friday, Wednesday, Tuesday. That was 3 days ago. So anyway, I gotta get this stuff done. Okay, moving on, let's talk. So I'm really pleased. There are 10 participants here today. And for a Friday night, that's pretty good. And I know that the days of the week are pretty weird right now, but it's still a Friday. I still want to have pizza for dinner because that's what you do on Fridays, in my opinion. But you guys are serious and hardcore. You're here. I'm going to talk today about the EmDash. The EmDash is a piece of punctuation that is underused, and it's really great. Wow, 12 participants now. This is fun. The EmDash is really fun for like drama. Basically, I think it creates a really strong sense of drama in a sentence. You're going to see examples of that. But I've been advocating for this piece of punctuation, people using it in their writing for a long time. You have to know it for the grammar section of the tests, both tests anyway. We're going to learn that in about 2 seconds. And I'll even tell you, I just realized I will tell you one like test prep trick about when you should use an EmDash and when you shouldn't. But really more important to me than that is that you guys use this in your own writing, because it's so, it's just, it makes for good communication, because it changes the pace and it changes the rhythm, and it's really easy to use. So anyway, here we go. Before I get into my spiel on the EmDash, let's hear from the experts. This guy, Ben Yagoda, he's a professor at the University of Delaware, and he wrote an opinion piece for the New York Times, and he said, writers who deploy this mark comfortably and adeptly, rather than haphazardly, are conscious of the rhythm and dynamics of a sentence. A well-placed dash adds energy and voice. I think that's a really good point. I like that he's saying that you have to use it, comfortably and adeptly. And comfortably, that's pretty easy. Once you get used to it, once you practice with it a little bit, you can kind of hear in your own voice when you would want to use one, and then you do it there. Haphazardly is not good. Maybe at the very beginning, as you first try to use it, like F it up, doesn't matter, and then learn from that experience. But it's just, like he says, energy and voice, rhythm and dynamics. I mean, this is exactly what we want from a good sentence and good communication, something to make something readable. And then the all-time expert on the English language, William Strunk Jr., I wouldn't even say American English, right? I think this is an American book. He says, a dash is a mark of separation stronger than a comma, less formal than a colon, and more relaxed than parentheses. I could not agree with the last one more. It's way chiller than parentheses. Parentheses to me are for math and for science, you know what I mean? And they have a real place there. But if you can get away with using EmDashes instead of parentheses, I would recommend it. He just has a dash. He does mean EmDash. There are several dashes. There's a hyphen, there's an N dash, and then there's the M dash, and we'll talk about that in a second. The other thing I would say is he says it's stronger than a comma. It is stronger than a comma. It's also less frequently used, right? Everyone else in the world, like literally the entire world, is burned out on commas. We know what they are. We know what they do. They never surprise. And surprising is good. Being a little bit surprising here and there, I think, is actually, you don't want to overuse them, as they're pointing out, I think. But if you don't overuse them, then they have such value. Okay, here's what I say. The EmDash is versatile and elegant. It shapes tempo, creates dramatic pauses, and sets up punchlines. It's underutilized. It's almost impossible to misuse it. I love it. It's my favorite. It's my favorite by a mile. If you look online, as I did in setting up this presentation today, what's funny is I've been way into this punctuation mark since before it was cool. I don't really mean that seriously. I have been into Zoom since before it was cool. And actually, I should say, I actually was into the EmDash since before it was cool, but I just don't like that phrase. Anyway, irrelevant. The point is, a lot of people have a lot of opinions on the EmDash, and a lot of people actually love it as much as I do. And then, of course, when some people love something, then another group of people has to emerge to hate it. It's like, the idea of hating it is really, to me, stupid, because it's a piece of punctuation. It has use. If you use it correctly, then it should be, I don't know, like if you use it correctly, then what's the problem? If you use a semicolon correctly, what's the problem? So that's one man's opinion, but I also like this thing better than a semicolon. I do like semicolons. I do use them. I use the EmDash so much more. That quote is attributed to Ted Dorsey, which is me. Okay. Next one, what is it? Let's get down to the nitty gritty here. The EmDash is a dash with the same length as the letter M, hence the name. That's where it got its name from. A dash as long as M. Here's how you use it. You can use two EmDashes. Of course, here's a demonstration, just as you would with two commas or parentheses, to set up inessential information within a sentence. Those are the parenthetical EmDashes. Totally good, clean, fine, better than commas, better than parentheses, in my opinion. Not my favorite use of them, but a really good use. And then you can also use it for drama, separating information within a sentence that can determine whether you will live or die. Right, now that sentence makes no sense whatsoever, because the sentence is not going to make you live or die, but the dash is there for the drama, and it makes you read it the way I just read it, and that's a good thing. Okay, so how do I make one, right? So let's get super practical. On a Mac, if you're using a Mac keyboard, it's Option Shift Dash. The dash is the one between the 0 and the plus sign. I want you to use this. I want you to get used to using it. I want you to practice those keystrokes, because as soon as you know how to do it, it no longer is this like, obscure mythical thing. As soon as you can do it, you can use it. On a PC, when you're in Word, that's key. It's Control Alt minus. I've used PCs before. I've had jobs where I got a PC. That's the only time I've really used one. And they're fine. You get used to them. On a PC, when you're not in Word, this is the one that I don't quite understand though. You can type Alt 0151, and I've seen commands like that before. I don't know if it's like a Unicode thing. There's some name for that. If anyone knows what that is, like the 0151, please clarify. Obviously there is an Alt key, but then do you type 0151? Because you have to type them separately because there's two ones, right? There's no 0151 key, I don't think, unless the keyboards have gotten like astonishingly huge since the last time I used a PC. Anyway, that's a strange one to me. On an iPhone, this is kind of fun. I use it on my phone too. Just type 2 dashes. The recent system software, it used to be much harder to do this, but if you just type 2 dashes, it'll get replaced with an EmDash because Apple knows that people like EmDashes and want to use them properly. On a Pixel phone, which is what I used to have before I got an iPhone again, you hold down the dash key, like the single dash, and then other options will pop up, including the EmDash. It's the longest one. Grab the longest one. Heads up that on a Pixel phone, if you're in the SMS, message app, the EmDash will take up, I don't know why this is, like the equivalent of 25 characters within your message. I got so many long stories as to why I had an iPhone. I got pissed at the iPhone. I switched to a Pixel phone. I got very pissed at the Pixel phone. I switched back to the iPhone. This is one of the reasons, is that I couldn't write my text messages with EmDashes. And like, is it lame to write a text message with an EmDash? I don't know, maybe, but I did it. One more note about usage. You're not technically supposed to put a space before and after the EmDash. Just type the word before the EmDash and the word after. And while no spaces is the rule or convention, some newspapers do include the spaces before and after, so don't write an angry letter. There's no like hard and fast agreement on that as to whether or not you should, but the rough stylistic consensus is that you should not put dashes before and after the EmDash. Okay, so the last thing to do here is read some sample sentences and just see it in action, and see the value that it brings. And this is like, this is my sales pitch to you guys on this wonderful piece of punctuation. This is from literature. I haven't read this book, but I got this from the web, and I really do like it. I'll just give you the quote here. It's Jamel Brinkley from No More Than a Bubble in A Lucky Man. None of those words mean anything to me, but anyway. Each of the names had 3 letters: Sir, Eve, Ron, Rel, Med, and the drips of paint made murky icicles of color. There's an effect there, you know what I mean? There's a dramatic tone to that sentence, and it's set up by the EmDashes, and it's also set up by the capital letters, but the EmDashes set up the capital letters, you know what I mean? Like they break within the sentence so we can arrive there and take that moment and think about them and visualize them. And as I said here, the dashes are being used as parentheses, but why? To set aside the names and to draw special attention to the visual quality of those names. Like your brain's sort of forced to see them. And I just think that's lovely. I haven't read this book, but I would, because that is a beautiful sentence and a really nice use of those EmDashes. All right. Next one, upon discovering the errors, all 124 of them, the publisher immediately recalled the books. So what is the dash doing for us there? This is a grammatical website. The punctuation-guide.com/m-dash-dash.html. Got to give everybody appropriate credit, right? What are these dashes doing for us? So the parenthetical dashes point out that the number of errors, the 124, is a number that the author thinks should make you aghast, right? Like how many errors is too many errors is the question within the sentence, and the answer is 124 is too many. If it was like all, I don't know, even if it was like all 10 of them, then you'd assume 10 was too many as well, because of the elevated nature of that one little clause. 124 is a lot. I know from making books how freaking hard it is to make a book without an error. I've never put out a book with 124 errors. I probably have released a book that has like 8 to 10 errors, and like those totally mortify me. you know, and I live with that on my conscience. I fixed them, but 124 is way too many errors, and that's what the EmDashes are pointing out. Okay, another example. After 3 weeks on set, the cast was fed up with his direction, or rather, lack of direction. This is a little bit of the punchline. It's not funny, you know, but there is a bit of a, you know, the surprise at the end of the sentence, again, from punctuationguide.com, everyone's favorite website during this self-quarantine break. How is this one working? Sort of smugly, sarcastically, rhythmically, you know, it's this break in the sentence again. There's always that, like, you know, dramatic rhythmic break that the EmDash sets up. And I think those are, I think that's the highest value of it, to be honest, you know. It's really hard to create that sort of style, almost like verbal style within a sentence, and the EmDash just does it so automatically for us. Another piece of punctuation that does would be an ellipsis. I love those too. You can definitely overuse those. You know, I think you can overuse those before you will overuse an EmDash. Actually, so this is kind of interesting. I read an article about, and it wasn't, the weird thing was the article wasn't sarcastic, and the headline was "Why I Hate EmDashes," and the author decided as sort of a clever little thing to overuse EmDashes, and by overuse I mean literally have at least one EmDash in every single sentence of the article, and the article's, you know, it's probably 300 or 400 words long, so plenty long, so you notice all the EmDashes. But here's the weird thing: it didn't really bother me. You know, I mean, I noticed it, and it was an overuse of them, but I was surprised that it was inoffensive, and they were all being used correctly. So at first I was like, oh, this person must be doing this sarcastically. They weren't. They were critiquing the overuse of EmDashes, but just sort of ineffectively by you know, unintentionally revealing that, like, no, actually, you can't really overuse them, you know, and not as badly as you think you are. Okay, I've got a couple more here. Oh no, I've got 3 more, I think. After months of deliberation, the jurors reached a unanimous verdict: guilty. Where did I get this one from? Yeah, oh, that same red hot website trending right now, the punctuationguide.com. So what's this one doing? I said it's a drama delivery vehicle. It's a colon. You could use it. You could put a colon there instead, because you know, we've gotten through the sentence and now we're delivering the thing. Colon would be fine. What does the dash do that's better than a colon? I think it's a little more high drama. As I say, the pause is short, but the drama is high, just like it was in the courtroom. You can't add, and I've already said this before, but I'll say it again, you can't add in better pacing punctuation than the EmDash. So I think the EmDash does sort of, like, it almost has like the foreperson of the jury stand up and deliver that verdict. Have I sold you yet? Okay, 2 more. I love this one. Gosh, I have a few things to say about this one, and I freaking love this quote so much. And there are things about it that are difficult too, but we'll get to that. Whenever you feel an impulse to perpetrate a piece of exceptionally fine writing, obey it wholeheartedly and delete it before sending your manuscript to press. Murder your darlings. So many things that are interesting here. For starters, let's skip the EmDashes for 1 second. Murder your darlings. That's the same as a phrase I've been saying. I was taught in high school by my creative writing teacher, Roger Mann, who said, and he was also our journalism teacher, which is actually like a really nice coincidence. You know, I mean, like the coincidence makes a lot of sense. He should have been teaching both of those classes. They're both about good writing, good communication. But the phrase we said was not murder your darlings. It was kill your babies, which is basically you write stuff that you fall in love with and you cannot part with it, but sometimes you have to. That's my only objection with this particular quote is he's not, I'll share who said it in a second. He's not saying weigh them out as to whether they're good or not or beneficial to the essay or not. He's saying delete it. I think what he's implying is that there are phrases that we write that we get really excited about that don't have as much relevance as we want them to have, and those are the ones that we should kill, right? Because you can have, and thank God that we do, an amazing phrase that serves a passage, that serves a book or a chapter. I mean, my God, like, you know, like ask William Shakespeare, ask William Faulkner, there are very carefully phrased sentences that are just like, the world is a better place because we have them. I mean, like that's how it is for me. So you don't want to kill all your darlings, you know what I mean? You don't want to leave just the ugly ones. You want to keep some of the pretty ones too. But the other thing I wanted to say about this quote is it's from this guy, Sir Arthur Quiller Couch. The quote is actually often misattributed, and this is a theme of the week, actually, misattributed quotes. This one's misattributed to William Faulkner, who is a brilliant thinker and an amazing writer, and who didn't say this. I think that Sir Arthur Quiller Couch, who when I first heard that name, I was like, who the F is this guy? He's actually like a total badass. I looked him up on Wikipedia, and he's really interesting, and he wrote a ton of books, and he wrote a guide to all of English literature, all of English poetry, I think, from like 1290 through 1900, and then he extended it in 1908. Like he was a real badass. This sentence, you can read this sentence and tell what a good writer he is. But the funny thing is, because we don't know him, because like we do know William Faulkner and we don't know Sir Arthur Quiller Couch, when people want the quote to land, they say that it was Faulkner. So you've led a pretty successful life when people misattribute really good quotes to you. The other one from earlier in the week, was that yesterday? That was Tuesday, about compound interest, was compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world, Albert Einstein. It's like, no, he didn't. He did not actually say that. It's a great quote, but it's not an Albert Einstein quote. So anyway, here's what I think. Oh, that's funny. I haven't even gotten to the EmDash. Isn't that funny? We like the language, right? It's all interesting. How is this one working? I would say this, the EmDash is around the word wholeheartedly. It's very stylistic. It's 100% inessential. You could just delete those two EmDashes, replace them with spaces. But it draws special attention to that one word. It creates special drama and attention within the sentence. I'm going to read it one more time. Actually reading for the EmDash. Whenever you feel an impulse to perpetrate a piece of exceptionally fine writing, obey it wholeheartedly and delete it before sending your manuscript to press. Murder your darlings. A great quote. Like, thank you, Sir Arthur. That's pretty cool. But the pause there before wholeheartedly emphasizes that word. And I just realized as I read it that second time too, it also emphasizes delete it. The pause like sets you up for like the excitement of sharing this beautifully phrased sentence, and then the disappointment of having to delete it. And I don't know, it's so effective. It's so good. The next one is the last one. And this is a quote from Tutor Ted's Guide to the SAT and Tutor Ted's Guide to the ACT. I don't know why, I just love this sentence. I hope we can visit Philadelphia again soon, or never leave at all. So for starters, I'll just jump right into my commentary here. I said, how is this one working? This one sets up the punchline. The dash sets up the punchline. If you didn't have the dash, it would read like this. I hope we can visit Philadelphia again soon, or never leave at all. It's not funny. It's literally like it literally lacks comedy, and that's fine. But it's just a different type of sentence. Or never leave at all is a punchline only because of the EmDash. The whole sentence is a pretty stupid thought, as I say here. You should want to leave Philadelphia. The one thing you should see is the Barnes Museum. You can see the Philadelphia Museum of Art. You can see the Rocky sculpture, whatever. Like, I'm not, whatever. Like that is a 2-second experience to see the Rocky sculpture. And if you want to, you can. But the Barnes Museum, for one thing, watch the movie The Art of the Steal, the documentary, and then go to the Barnes Museum. And just go to the Barnes Museum anyway, because it is freaking fantastic. The collection is unbelievable, and it's singular. It's totally singular. There is nothing else like it in the world. That's all I can say. It's fantastic. One other Philadelphia recommendation, controversial. You ready for it? Don't get a cheesesteak. Do you know why? Because they're gross. One man's opinion. I've heard that there is a good place. We went to Pat's and Gino's, the ones that are across the street, and they're like supposed to be like rivals for the best cheesesteaks, and they were both like just like like kind of gross meat with cheese whiz on like bread. So anyway, that's my recommendation on the cheesesteak, and that should hopefully get me in trouble. Matt Casper agrees, and this as well. Are you agreeing? Oh, that's right. He was agreeing about the Barnes Museum, and then disagreeing with me about the cheesesteaks, but I'm standing by it. Anyway, let's get back to the EmDash. Oh, got more chat here. Yes, that's right. Thank you. So in this sentence, it sets up the punchline. As I say, the EmDash is the dramatic pause we need in this sentence for it to come together in all its absurd glory. It makes the sentence, it's a silly sentence, God bless Philadelphia, and I hope they remain Philadelphia for as long as they can be Philadelphia. But it's a joke creator. I hope I've sold you on the EmDash. This is my last slide, and for now, my last quarantine lecture. But seriously, send me topics that you guys are interested in. Again, if you want to put it in the chat right now, you can do that. If you want to email it to me, ted@tutorted.com. I'll type that in the chat. That's my email address. Hit me up. I've actually really enjoyed doing this week. It has not been too stressful. It's been appropriately stressful, which I think is good in general. I think stress is underrated sometimes, but I've enjoyed having you guys here, and I just appreciate that you all took the time to learn something, and have some fun with me, and especially to indulge me on my favorite topics. So signing off. Julia, do you see it right above your message? Can you guys see? Oh, that's so weird. So can you guys see each other's messages? I don't think you can. You can't. Aha. Well, that makes it hard, doesn't it? Thanks, Aaron. Thank you, man. I'm going to write it on the screen. I'm going to use my annotation tools. What's this? Okay, here it is. TED@TUTRTED.com. Can you see it below the last paragraph there? Thanks, Elizabeth. Thanks, Ryan. Thanks, Noah. Thank you, Matt. Cool. ted@tutorted.com. Hit me up, guys. Have a great weekend. Thanks, Antoine. I enjoyed it too. Thank you. It was good. Good stuff. Thanks, Julia. Adios, amigos. Have a great weekend. Enjoy your quarantine. We're doing fine, I think.